What's up, everybody? It is time for our Week 8 picks. Our year-long competition continues. The loser will owe the other a very delicious, a very expensive steak dinner. We do this every year. First, let's take a look at last week. As you can see, I did it. I finally made up some ground. Got a couple points on you. You missed a good bit in the spread. It seems like that's where I made up the most. I went 10-4 straight up. You went 9-5 straight up. Against the spread, I went 9-5. You went 5-9. Ryan, here's the overall standings just to remind anybody that cares. Straight up, we're pretty close. The spread, I'm closing in. You've got me on locks. Obviously, they don't count towards the total. That's what matters right there, the total. You are 106, 89-1. I am 99, 96-1. I am only 7 points behind you as we head into Week 8.
Rough outing last week, man. I was lazy. I became lazy. I'm sorry for all the fans out there. I let you down, let myself down. Don't worry, I've already done 1,200 burpees and 1,500 suicides. I'm ready to go this week. Lock it in. I'm killing the locks this week. You can bet it on the house, on your dog, on your cat. Tell everybody. It's happening.
All three of the fans out there, he means it.
Every one of them. You guys are important to me.
Okay, we're probably going to have fun talking about the picks. We're having fun, but it's a bad week. I mean, probably the worst week of the season. I mean, really not a good matchup in here. This is the week, if you've got to do something on Sunday, good week to do it. Without further ado, let's just jump right into it. We start with the Arizona Cardinals going to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Tua, he might be back. He won't be wearing a Guardian cap, and I don't blame him because they look ridiculous. The Dolphins are favored by 3.5, which I think tells you that the markets believe Tua is going to be there. However, I think even if Tua's back, it's going to take them a bit to find their rhythm. We act like Tua coming back is just going to solve everything. When Tua was there, they were getting destroyed by the Bills. They looked absolutely terrible. Arizona squeaked by on the Chargers last week, so I could see them dropping it, but I'm going to take the Cardinals to win, and I'll gladly take the Cardinals plus the 3.5 because I just think they're the better team right now.
That's a bad move on your part because Tua coming back home, starting this game, they are going to be firing on all cylinders. It may only be for one game. I'll give you that. And before he got hurt, they were not cooking. But this week, they will be against Arizona and the terrible defense that they put up. I'm telling you, I saw that interview too, and Tua said it was personal choice to not wear the Guardian cap, which really meant, no, I don't want to look like a moron out in the field. Because anybody with one of those caps on, I think, was it A-Chain that wore one last week? I think it was him because he's so tiny and wearing that helmet, that Guardian cap, it looks ridiculous. I mean, if you're going to just go play football and put your life on the line like Tua is probably doing now, go out with a bang. Don't look stupid. Imagine your last play in all of NFL was a concussion with a Guardian cap on top of your head, and that's the picture for the rest of your life. That's what you retire on. I'm taking the Dolphins. Dolphins to cover minus 3.5 because Tua is going to come back and throw bombs today.
I just don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to happen immediately if it happens at all. All right, the Jets, all their problems are solved. Luckily for them, they're playing the Patriots. The Jets are favored by 7, which seems absurd to me. I know the Patriots are bad, but everyone.
So are the Jets.
So are the Jets. The Jets are a bad football team. I do think the Jets win this game just because they're going to outduel the Patriots somehow, but I think the Patriots cover. Jets win, Patriots cover.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think this Patriots team, like I've said every week, they're just a nagging team. They're just there to piss you off and piss you off enough to not let you cover a spread. I think the Jets will win. They'll find a way to do it. They'll utilize Breece Hall. But I think that Drake May will hold his own. And I think Ramondre Stevens may have a pretty decent game this week too, even though the Jets are pretty decent in stopping the run. I think that gets away from them a little bit this game, but they find a way to win in the fourth quarter by a touchdown.
The Philadelphia Eagles go to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Both teams really need a win. The Bengals just trying to keep their head above water. Cincinnati favored by 1.5. I know the records are different, but I really just believe the Bengals are a better football team. I know their defense has been bad, but the Eagles' offense has sucked. I mean, they really struggle to move the ball downfield. Most of their points come off of bombs to A.J. Brown or Saquon Barkley. He has been the driving force for the Eagles. Can you imagine how they would look if they didn't have him? It really feels like he's kind of just holding the team up. The defense isn't as good as it's been in years past, and I think Burrow's going to keep cooking. I think Cincinnati wins the football game, so I think they cover the 1.5.
Yeah, I agree with you on some fronts. It's weird that you could replace Jalen Hurts with Daniel Jones, and I think this team would still look the exact same. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because
I understand.
Anybody can throw a bomb to a wide open receiver like A.J. Brown, and Saquon is pulling the weight of the entire team. So I think that this is actually one of those matchups this week where I'm going to be watching really close to see who the Eagles really are. I think this is going to expose them because I think that Chase Brown, you said Joe Burrow be cooking, I think that Chase Brown is going to run the ball down the Eagles' throat this week, and they're going to control the whole game. I don't think it'll be super high scoring because I think the Bengals will get up early and not let that lead fall off. Give me the Bengals to win and cover.
The Packers are going to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. Both teams coming off of much-needed wins, particularly for the Jags. Green Bay trying to climb back into that number one seed race for the NFC North for the playoffs. Green Bay favored by 4.5 points. There is no way I would touch Jacksonville here. The Green Bay is a far superior football team. They're a legit Super Bowl contender. I'm off the Jaguars bandwagon. Packers win for this week. Packers win, Packers cover.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. Packers win, Packers cover. Although Jaden Reed is questionable this week. I just got the report today, so that does worry me a little bit. But even if Reed didn't play, I think they have enough weapons around them. Jordan Love has enough weapons to win this football game against the Jags.
Besides that, Ryan, it's the Green Bay defense. I don't even care what receivers they have. That Green Bay defense is legit. They're mean, they're physical, and Trevor Lawrence has had trouble already this year. He's going to struggle against this defense. All right, the Falcons go to Tampa Bay to take on the Bucs, who are reeling. Atlanta won their first game in overtime, and the Bucs obviously wanted to get them the second time because they're fighting for the division, but things went awry. Mike Evans is out. Chris Godwin out for the season, probably. I mean, definitely, almost definitely Chris Godwin's out for the season. Mike Evans, we'll see. Falcons are favored by 2.5 points. Maybe Tampa finds a way to hang in there, but it feels like if they want to beat Atlanta, they got to get in a shootout because Tampa's defense just isn't as good as it used to be. I think Atlanta wins and Atlanta covers. It's bad for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, this is going to be a bounce-back game for Atlanta. Kirk Cousins is going to do everything he can to win this football game. Drake London's going to have a great game. Bijan, they seem to be getting him more involved consistently now on the ground, so that's going to be a big plus on their side. Tampa Bay side, like you said, I mean, they're depleted. Evans won't play. Godwin, not probably, definitely out for the season. I mean, he snapped his ankles, really what happened. Dislocated, broke, whatever it is. It was floppy, okay? Let's just be honest. It was a bad, gruesome injury. I hate it for him.
If television won't show the replay, you're not coming back this year.
That's right. That's exactly right. But hey, look, at least it wasn't an Achilles injury that everybody else has had this year.
Right. So we both got Falcons to win, Falcons to cover, correct?
That's right.
All right. Baltimore going to Cleveland to take on the Browns, a divisional matchup. The Ravens favored by 9.5 points against Cleveland, who will be, I think they confirmed they're starting Jameis Winston in this game, not DTR. It is going to be Winston versus Lamar. I think Baltimore obviously wins the football game. I am going to take Cleveland plus the 9.5 because I wouldn't with Deshaun, but putting a new quarterback in there, Cleveland should get better. They got a lot of problems. They're not a good football team, even regardless of the Deshaun Watson issue, but they should get that little new quarterback boost. They should play better. They should have some wrinkles that Baltimore's not ready because the offense is going to be different. Baltimore wins, Cleveland covers.
Yeah, I'm there with you too because I think that Jameis Winston, he's going to throw an interception in this game, maybe even a couple, maybe a handful, but he's also going to score points at the same time because he's a gunslinger. He has that Favre mentality where he'll put it all on the line to get the points, and if it winds up being bad, he'll come and do it again the next drive. Nothing shakes him. He's a gunslinger. Look out for Cedric Tillman, though, the rookie from last year who had a terrible, terrible rookie year, so much so that nobody even remembers him, but last week had a very, very good game. I think he's going to be that look that Jameis leans to more than Njoku, more so than him, the tight end, and especially if he winds up getting traded, that's going to be Cedric Tillman's offense. So just look out for that connection there. If you play fantasy, maybe a guy that you could get for next to nothing in your league.
I am reluctant, though, because Baltimore's defense is so good. Like, they're starting to really they struggled earlier in the year. They're starting to put it together. They gave up points in the end of that Tampa game, but, it was kind of already decided by then. We'll see. The Colts go to Houston to take on the Texans, another divisional matchup, a big divisional matchup for the AFC South. Colts right now, if the season ended today, would be a wild card. They would be a playoff team. Houston atop the division. We'll see how it can hold. Both teams shaky. Houston, even though we consider them contenders, have issues. We talked about it in a video. They've got offensive line issues, but they're favored by 5.5 points. I think the Texans win this game. I can see the Colts winning it. They beat Houston often. They're a divisional rival. It could go either way. That's why I am going to take the Colts to cover. Houston wins the football game, but this is going to be a close game. It's going to come down into the fourth quarter, and Houston's going to pull it out just because of DJ Stroud. Texans win, Colts cover.
I don't hate that take, but what I don't like is who's behind center for the Colts, which is Anthony Richardson. And with that and the defense that the Texans seem to put up pretty consistently, I'm going to take the Texans to win and also to cover. I think they'll put up at least a touchdown on the Colts to win the football game.
The Tennessee Titans go to Detroit to take on the Lions.
Ooh, what a spread.
Yeah, Tennessee getting rid of their receiver. Hopkins went to Kansas City. Detroit coming off a big win against Minnesota. Lions are favored by 10.5 points. Obviously, I think Detroit wins the football game. I know you don't like big spreads, but we've seen Detroit blow out the Cowboys. And then we saw the Bills blow out the Titans. It seems like the Titans are hemorrhaging players. They know it's a lost season. It's a big spread, but I think Detroit is that much better unless they just, take their foot off the gas. I think Detroit wins, and I think they cover.
I could see this going either which way. I just don't like big spreads. I think this is one of those weeks where Detroit should blow the Titans out, and somehow they manage not to do so for whatever reason. Not that it'll be a close game by any means, but it could even wind up being like how the Bucs scored, a lot of points in the fourth quarter against the Ravens last week. You knew the Ravens had this game in the bag, right? But Tampa Bay still managed to put up some garbage time points. I think it could roll like that, putting them within that 10.5 spread.
The Saints go to Los Angeles to face the Chargers. The Chargers coming off a tough loss to the Cardinals. They are favored, though, by 7.5 points against the hapless New Orleans Saints. The Saints are in a tough situation with the injuries, with the cap situation. Maybe they'll finally get rid of Dennis Allen, who I've been saying for years is the worst coach in the league. You can vouch me. He's just nothing. What does he do? He just exists. I think the Chargers win this football game simply because their head coach and quarterback, they're just a better football team. However, their lack of weapons offensively, they can't put up a lot of points. The Chargers are just not a team that can score a lot of points. They have to grind, wear you down, do the Harbaugh thing. They win the football game, but not by 7.5 points. Chargers win, Saints cover.
Just when I said I don't like big spreads, I'm going to take one right now. The Chargers win, the Chargers cover minus 7.5. I agree with you. They don't have the weapons, but they have to get J.K. Dobbins rolling this game. If they do that, they'll find success on the ground, control the majority of the football game, and then get up by, 10 points at some point in the game, and then they just need to manage the game after that and not let that lead up. That's what they need to do. That's what I'm confident in. Give me the Chargers.
I don't hate it. I really could. The Saints are so bad, it could happen. It could go that way.
My gosh, they're so bad. Does Dennis Allen, if he loses this game and say they lose by 10 points or more, is there talks of firing him at week 8?
I don't think they fire him midseason just because all the injuries, what do you do? Although I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate firing him and let Kubiak take over and see what he's got. So maybe he's good enough. You want him to be your guy going forward. Dennis Allen's obviously done after this year. Your team, the Buffalo Bills, are heading to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Both teams coming off of big wins. Buffalo favored by 3 points on the road. This is a really tough one, and I even just changed my spread pick last second. Ooh. I could see Seattle winning this game. Part of me wants to pick Seattle to win this game. I'm not going to, just because I feel like Sean McDermott's defense is going to get enough pressure and disrupt Geno. Geno has been good. I feel like a lot of people don't actually watch the Seahawks. The numbers can look however they look. I don't even know what his numbers look like. But if you watch the Seahawks play, he has a bad offensive line. He's getting pressured constantly. But he makes plays happen. He keeps that team afloat. The defense taking time to come into their own under Mike McDonald. I am going to take Buffalo to win because they're a better football team, and I trust Josh Allen. Maybe the Amari Cooper connection gets a little bit stronger here. But give me Seattle to cover. So I'll take the Buffalo to win. I'll take Seattle plus 3. Kind of hedging my bet here, really, just because I could see it go either way. But that's where I stand.
Yeah, I heard you make your pick. You're going to have fun getting that keyboard sound out of the edit on post. But anyway, Buffalo is going to win this football game. I have them to cover. Look, Amari Cooper scored a touchdown last week, having to ask Keon Coleman which route to run. Okay, so I think that after another week under his belt at the Buffalo Bills organization with Josh Allen, I think you have an opportunity to have a really big football game from these two. This connection needs to be strong. They need to utilize James Cook more than they did last week. I think all this comes together against Seattle because, honestly, it has to this week. I think they do enough to keep Geno a little off his heels, off kilter a little bit, and he makes a couple of mistakes, which gives Buffalo that advantage throughout the entire football game.
The Chicago Bears at the Washington Commanders. Chicago favored by 2.5 points. Jaden Daniels' status right now is up in the air, questionable. He hasn't been practicing as we record this on Wednesday. We don't know if he'll play.
His mama said he's fine.
His mama said he's okay. Now listen, we've been excited about this matchup because it's the number 1 versus number 2 picks. We wanted to see it. We might not get that. I'm going with Washington to win the football game, so I'll take them plus the 2.5. Ultimately, because I just think they're a better coached football team. That's it. When a game like this, I have so many questions. Normally, I would lean better quarterback. If Daniels plays, I think he's the better quarterback, even though Caleb's looked really good lately. I'm just going with experience, and I'm going with Dan Quinn and Kingsbury and the Washington coaching staff.
Yeah, I'm really betting on Jaden Daniels to play this game because if Marcus Mariota has to start, I do not think that they would cover.
He was good last week.
That's fine, okay? But he's going up against a rested Chicago this week. It's going to be different. So I'm going to hedge my bet that Daniels is going to play just because his mom said he was fine that quick, so it was just an instant, he's fine. There's no, the x-ray was not inconclusive or negative, whatever they want to call it. Means he didn't have any broken ribs, okay? He's got a bruised little boo-boo on his ribs. He'll play this game, I hope, which gives me Washington plus 2.5, obviously, if I'm picking them to win.
All right, Carolina at the Broncos. Broncos favored by 9.5 points.
If there's a game on TV I'd care nothing about watching, this is the one.
Well, there's a lot of them this week, unfortunately.
This is the number one for me, though.
Fair enough. Bryce Young will be starting, which against this defense, Denver's got one of the best defenses in the league. It's like Bryce Young, poor guy, can't catch a break. Like, hey man, we know we benched you, but you're starting. Great, who do I got? The Broncos. Just bench me, please. Denver wins the football game. Reluctantly, I take Denver to cover simply because of the defense, man. I don't know. Carolina's going to have a tough time putting up points. Sean Payton's doing a good job coaching this team. Denver wins, Denver covers.
Okay, to be completely transparent, I had no idea Bryce Young was starting this week. Which is going to change my pick. You got to change one of yours on the fly. I'm changing mine. So I'm going to take Denver. I'm going to reluctantly give up. Man, that's a big spread. I'm going to take him minus 9.5 because I just believe that Bryce Young is that bad of a quarterback. I don't think he's an NFL guy. I don't know why they're letting him start. Why did he edge out?
Hurt.
Is that right? Is that
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, then I haven't kept up with Carolina. Surprise to everybody.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry we're not Carolina fans, or I don't even think there are any. But nonetheless, with Bryce Young behind center, there ain't no way that he keeps this game close.
No, Andy Dalton injured his thumb in a car crash.
What?
Bryce, here's your chance.
Out of all the body parts, by the way, to injure in a car crash,
little thumb.
You injure your thumb that you throw.
He tried to open the door too hard to get out. He said, oh, my thummy. All right. I don't mean to make light of a car crash. You've been in one. It was awful. Okay.
I've been in a couple, yeah.
All right. Maybe you should get better at driving. The Chiefs.
Not my fault, but okay.
Not one of them. The Chiefs at the Raiders. The Chiefs get DeAndre Hopkins. Receiver help is on the way. I almost think the Chiefs would have just let it ride. Then Juju got hurt, and Brett Veach just threw his fucking pin up. So, all right, give them whatever they want. Hopkins comes to town. Chiefs win this football game, but I can't take them to cover because, one, it's a divisional team matchup. I know the Raiders are awful, but hell, they beat them last year on Christmas. They were awful then. Chiefs win the football game. Raiders cover because it's a divisional matchup, and the Chiefs usually don't blow anybody out.
Yeah, until this week. Again, I feel like a liar now because I've said this whole episode that I hate big spreads, and I've now taken
every single one of them.
This will be my third big spread over 7 points. So I'm going to take Kansas City minus 9.5 because the Raiders are just awful.
You're the guy at the buffet that's like, man, I hate mac and cheese. And just loads his plate up with mac and cheese.
I really need to watch my calories, this week. But yeah, Brett Veach has got to be flustered, man. He's like, just they're in the game planning room, whatever room they want to call that, Patrick Mahomes' living room, if you will. They're just sitting over there. It's like, all right, who do we got? Juju? Okay. Hey, Brett, we don't have Juju anymore. Son of. I mean, like, he has got to be scratching his head and, like, just wondering how many more injuries can this Kansas City team take. But yet, at the same time, they somehow are the only undefeated team in the NFL. really pisses me off that they are that good. But, that's a testament to Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and really, honestly, everybody else on the football team. I think Kareem Hunt has a really good game this week. I hope so because I just traded for him. But I think he's the goal line guy. Even with D-Hop in, I still think Kareem is going to do great, and this team is going to be rolling on Sunday.
All right, we both think Chiefs win. I think Raiders cover. You think Chiefs cover. Dallas at San Francisco. San Francisco with a bunch of injuries. Dallas with a bunch of injuries too, and just a depleted roster. San Francisco's favored by 4.5 points. I really do think Dallas is just really bad, though. I thought it preseason. It's carried to now. Even though San Francisco's dealing with all the injuries, like everybody's out, it's just coaching. It's still a better roster. I think San Francisco wins, and carefully, I'm going to take San Francisco to cover.
Yeah, San Francisco shares a lot of similarities with Tampa Bay right now and Kansas City. They have everybody injured. So it's going to be a rough outing for San Francisco. I think that's going to be enough for a rested Dallas team to come in and actually pull off a win. You remember, where is Dallas the worst?
I don't know. Everywhere they go.
At home.
They
haven't won a home game, but they've won almost every one on the road.
It's weird.
I think that continues this week, and I think Dallas has what it takes to pull this off against a very hurt San Francisco team. They may just need to make sure that Jerry Jones is sure he wants to start Mike McCarthy this week at head coach. I read one article that said, well, with it being Halloween coming up, I wonder if Dallas will actually dress up as an actual functional football team. It cracked me up, man. And if they do, they'll win this football game and cover, which is what I'm predicting.
I'm surprised you're going Dallas there, but we'll see. It could happen. Anything can happen in this league. The Giants at the Steelers. Steelers favored by 6.5 points. Did you see? Please tell me you saw where Mike Tomlin did the press conference, and the last question, they were like as he was getting up to leave, they said, how did you make the decision to start Russell Wilson? He said, that's why I'm well compensated. And then he walked off. One of the
I did not see that.
Just a great mic drop answer. And he, his delivery, he's always just like dead serious. Awesome. It was impressive. However, I don't think the Russell Wilson facade will last. I think as more teams get film on him, they'll change it. However, the ability for him to push the ball downfield does change them. Because Justin Fields, you heard the commentators talking about it, he doesn't put any arc on his balls. It's all bullet passes, and he doesn't push the ball downfield. So maybe they will be better with Wilson. Either way, the Giants are awful. Daniel Jones, he might have a good game one week, and then it'll be terrible the next. The big thing for the Giants, Ryan, is they lost Andrew Thomas, and without him, this team can't function. It is genuinely crazy how bad they are without Andrew Thomas. For that reason alone, I'm picking Pittsburgh to win and Pittsburgh to cover. I think they just beat them down. Pittsburgh is a mean, physical, good football team. They always are. They're going to take it to the Giants this week.
I agree with you that Pittsburgh is going to win this football game. However, Malik Neighbors is back, and I think that that's enough for them to get a few more points than they did, look a little bit better. I know Andrew Thomas makes a huge difference. You didn't realize it until he was gone. But, that's a big red flag. I get that. And this Pittsburgh team their defense is scary good. They're going to win this football game. Russ is, if he continues what he did last week, he's going to be a great quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, better than we thought he would be. We all thought he'd be washed up and it would be Justin Fields' game to play, and I thought it was a huge mistake taking Fields out and putting Russell Wilson in. Seems to be working for him so far, but I still think the Giants find a way to play this a little bit closer than expected, so I'll take the Giants plus 6.5 here, Pittsburgh to win.
Malik Neighbors played last week, and they were still awful, to be fair.
Did Malik play last week?
He did.
I mean, it was his first week back from injury.
You wouldn't have noticed him because I think he only got like 4 targets. But
yeah. Well, also, it's hard to throw the ball when you're laying on your back.
Good point. All right. Lastly, 2 locks. These don't count to the total because obviously they're picks we already made. It's just for fun. You've been doing really well on locks this year. If we had to bet the farm, bet our house, bet everything we own on 2 spread picks, what would we take? We just talked about one of them. Give me Pittsburgh minus 6.5 because I think the Giants without Andrew Thomas are a disaster. And give me the Colts plus 5.5 against the Texans. Divisional matchup. They always play each other tight. Those are my 2.
Yeah, I had to change one because I had Carolina before I knew about Bryce. So I'm going to take Cleveland plus 9.5. And then give me, you know what? I'm going to roll Dallas plus 4.5, baby. I'm going to ride them all the way to the house.
I don't hate it. All right, there you have it. Let's take a look. Here are the picks. If anybody wants to see it, put them on the screen just for a second so you see where all the different differences are highlighted. That's it. Week 8 picks are over. Ryan, we'll see. We'll see if anybody can gain any ground. Or
we're almost halfway through the season.
I don't want to talk about that.
Just letting you know.
It is flying by, but we're having fun every step of the way. All of you, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends about it. 2 idiots covering one sport, bluffing our way through the NFL football season. Have a safe weekend. Enjoy it. We'll see you on Monday and Tuesday talking about all of the action. For Ryan, I am Tristan. Goodbye.